Well, it was one of those butt crack of dawn trips. I got up before the dawn's early light and headed for North Carolina on a day that has become essentially a national holiday for Americans, Super Bowl Sunday. I thought, what better trail to ride on this day than one that circles an honest-to-goodness NFL stadium? And that's how I ended up in Charlotte, biking around the home of the Panthers on the very same day as the big game. Stick around as we explore 3 trails in and near Uptown Charlotte. Up next on Joyful Trails. This is Charlotte, North Carolina, nicknamed the Queen City, the QC, and CLT. There's one more nickname derived from the American Revolutionary War when British Commander General Charles Cornwallis occupied the city, but was driven out by hostile residents. He wrote that Charlotte was, quote, a hornet's nest of rebellion, end quote, leading to the nickname the Hornet's Nest. The city now has an estimated population of 911,311 and rests on 312 square miles. The history of the area dates back to 1567, when the Catawba Indian tribe settled in what would become Mecklenburg County. The town of Charlotte was incorporated in 1768. It was developed first by Scots-Irish Presbyterians and German immigrants. It is the historic seat of Southern Presbyterianism, but it's also the birthplace of evangelist Billy Graham and home of the Billy Graham Library. Charlotte is also home to the largest Jewish population in the Carolinas. The city experienced a cotton and railroad boom following the Civil War, as the town sat astride the Southern Railway main line, which ran from Atlanta to Washington, D.C. Charlotte is the nation's second largest Coca-Cola bottler. It's the largest metropolitan area in the United States without a zoo, and it plays host to 7 Fortune 500 companies in its metropolitan area, including Bank of America. As recently as 2022, Charlotte's GDP was $228.9 billion. That's more than I make in a month. Since this bike ride was recorded on Super Bowl Sunday, let me just mention that famous people from Charlotte include Dwight Clark of the San Francisco 49ers, Joe Gibbs, former head coach of the Washington Redskins, and the late great Reggie White of Eagles, Packers, and Panthers fame. All 3 were Super Bowl champions. I don't really follow the NFL anymore. I grew up a Cowboys fan because I loved Roger Staubach and Coach Tom Landry. I used to love how the stoic Landry always wore a hat, a coat, and a tie. But when Jerry Jones bought the team, I stopped caring. These days, I just pull for the Steelers on behalf of my son, PD, and whichever team has the most former Alabama players.
Roll Tide.
But enough about football. We've got 3 trails to ride: the Wesley Heights Connector, the Irwin Creek Greenway, and the Stewart Creek Greenway, just outside Uptown Charlotte. Let's go.
Boom, boom, there's a knock at the door, but don't freeze in your chance you've been waiting for. It's the light coming through the cracks. When life shows an open door, come on, step through. A chance like the purest gold. Come on, come on. When life shows an open road, you know you should ride. Forget what you've been told and ride this open road. This open road. This open road. Boom, boom, that knock on your door, it's sounding further away. Don't lose sight, life was times before. This is now today. When life shows an open door, come on, step through. A chance like the purest gold. Come on, come on. When life is an open road, you know you should ride. Forget what you've been told and ride this open road. When life shows an open door, come on, step through. A chance like the purest gold. Come on, come on. When life is an open road, you know you should ride. Forget what you've been told and ride this open road. This open road. This open road. This open road.
I really hope you're enjoying this video so far. If I could ask one favor of you, it would be for you to like this video. Click on the thumbs up, as it were. That really helps the video reach a wider audience, I'm told. Hold up, wait a minute. On second thought, if I could only ask one favor of you, it would be an interest-free loan of $3 billion with no obligation to repay. But if you can't do that, just like the video. Thanks. Stick around for my visit to a beloved South Charlotte Asian buffet. And also our Joyful Trails star rating. But first, let's talk about these trails, huh? It's 3 urban trails that literally touch. You go from Irwin Creek, right onto Stewart Creek, right onto the Wesley Heights Connector, which travels right up to the Carolina Panthers Stadium. Now, I get lots of questions about the length of the trails that I ride. This information is usually readily available on Al Gore's internet, but I'm going to try to start making it a point to tell you how long the trails are. It's just that, for me, it's not a primary focus, so sometimes I just forget to harp on it. I don't use a cycling computer and I don't track the distance. That wouldn't work for me because I start and stop so much to get all the cool video shots that you've come to expect from us here at Joyful Trails. But, best I can determine, these 3 trails taken together would be about 8 miles out and back. The two creek trails run alongside, well, creeks, as you might have guessed, but they also run through residential neighborhoods, particularly the Seversville neighborhood, home to lots of millennials in yoga pants out walking their fur babies. I don't know where all these young people are finding these boatloads of cash, but hey, good for them. And I say that because the Seversville median real estate price is over $800,000, and the average rental price is $3,220 a month, according to neighborhoodscout.com. Now, it's time for what I'm going to call the Scotty B soapbox moment. I did notice one thing because it was just so glaring. I saw one or two strollers, but literally dozens of dogs. These millennials today are just not having babies. And they are at a prime age for raising a family, but they're choosing instead to be dog dads and cat moms. Well, that's their business, you might say. And you're right, yes, it is. But it's kind of scaring me because we're not replacing ourselves. And it's not just Charlotte. The birth rate is down across the board all over the place. This is going to become an issue for us as Americans, particularly down the road a little bit, because there just will not be enough new people, new taxpayers, to fund all of the programs to which so many of us have become so addicted. I'm just keeping it real. This has nothing to do with bicycles or bike trails. This is extra. There's no charge for this. Okay, just hold on just a second. But yeah, it's going to be a problem because dogs and cats don't pay taxes. Your dog and cat are not going to be around to take care of you when you get old. We need to have more babies. Now, get married first, okay? I'm a little old-fashioned that way. Get married, then turn on a rom-com or maybe put on a Barry White record, and bada bing, bada boom, just do what comes naturally, and there you go. Somehow previous generations understood how to get this done. So for any millennials and maybe some Gen Zers who may somehow possibly be watching this, your assignment, your homework assignment, is to multiply and repopulate the earth, or at least your hometown. Godspeed, my friends. By the way, I got a first-hand object lesson on the Stewart Creek Greenway for why some guys might want to be a dog owner. Check this out. There's like 8 or 10 attractive young women just oohing and eyeing over this guy's dog. It's called a chick magnet. I started to circle back to that guy and say, hey, who needs dating apps when you've got a golden retriever? Am I right? These trails had a lot of the earmarks of urban greenways, the random trailside scooter here and there, sports fields and courts, lending libraries, outdoor exercise equipment, picnic tables and playgrounds, abandoned railroad tracks, great views of the Uptown Charlotte skyline, and good maps and signage. But wait, why would someone put a sticker on this sign? That's so gay. There's also lots of art, including statues of these children performing random acts of gardening, various sculptures around the football stadium, these metal trees with motivational messages on them, and graffiti. Lots and lots of graffiti. I've noticed that in large cities, graffiti artists are a way for the city to get a lot of art without paying a ton of money for it. Usually, a smaller town has to commission a work of art and pay through the nose for it. But with these graffiti artists around, you just go to bed one night, wake up the next morning, and boom, there's more awesome art to add to the collection. At no cost to the taxpayers. Win-win. The Stewart Creek Greenway also has a story walk for children. When I was there, it featured the book Buffalo Fluffalo, which I gotta say is a great title for a book, am I right? Another thing I've gotta say, sadly, is that Charlotte has a bit of a trash problem. Usually I try to put these trails in the best light possible here on this channel, show you the highlights, you know? But there is a trash issue along the creek that is sort of a common problem for large urban areas. I'm sure the city does what they can to try to keep the place cleaned up, and they're probably as frustrated by this as anybody. Also, be aware that there are several crossing streets that break up the trail. Be careful and look both ways before you cross the street. Stick around for a quick installment of responding to comments, but first, I took a seat at a picnic table near one of those metal trees and enjoyed a healthy trailside snack. And I know it was healthy because it was from Nature's Bakery. It was from the bakery of nature. Nature.
Responding to comments.
Friend of the show, at Marcus Rawls 2125, said, I agree, hit the facilities prior to hitting the trail. But here's a pro tip for your audience. Stop by your local Walmart and pick up a box of individually wrapped dude wipes. Always handy to have in the car or on your bike when nature calls. Plus, they work great to clean your hands if you ever throw a chain. But I carry a couple rubber gloves for that as well. This little tip will help keep the joy in the journey. I see what you did there, my friend, and hey, looky here. I just happen to have some dude wipes handy. I love the directions on the back of the package. Grab one and wipe, dude. Their origin story is pretty funny as well. Says, back in the day, we found a dude out of our apartment in Chicago. We were so tired of dealing with dry toilet paper during the aftermath of a lunchtime burrito. Something had to be done.
This has been Responding to Comments.
Before my day was done, I returned to my favorite Asian buffet in pretty much the whole world. Dragon Buffet, famous for their butter shrimp. I can highly recommend Dragon on the south side of Charlotte, North Carolina. So what do we think about these urban greenways and trails? Why should you bring your bike to Charlotte to ride these greenways? Well, you probably shouldn't. Hold up. Unless you're a local person, you probably shouldn't. I'll spare you the details, but parking was a nightmare. I eventually gave up and parked in a downtown garage. And when it was time to go, the fee was $28 for parking. Yeah. But these trails are kind of cool. The artwork, the skyline views, the creeks, the graffiti, and I'm guessing the Wesley Heights Connector is one of the very few bike trails in the United States that allows you to ride right up to an NFL stadium. And if you're a single guy looking to meet the ladies, there's plenty of pretty girls in yoga pants walking dogs. I'm just saying, maybe you could meet one of them and you guys could start a family. 3 stars for the Irwin Creek Greenway, Stewart Creek Greenway, and Wesley Heights Connector in Charlotte, North Carolina.